Remember when you were young and everything in life seemed so much more fun and the possibilities seemed endless? Is that still the same for you, or has life become a serious business? Wherever you are, you can change it. What if more magic, fun, and possibilities were available to you right here, right now? Join Laura and Alun in the playground of possibility as they play, laugh, and explore new ways you can use to make your life more fun and to create more of what you desire.
Hello and welcome to the Playground of Possibilities with myself, Alan Jones, and my gorgeous, if not out of breath, co-host, Ms. Laura Borland.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Yeah, so glad you could make it today. It's awesome. So, yes, you get to come and play with money, and how does it get better?
For anyone who's thinking that's really weird, because actually you have a radio every week, I just didn't know that Canadian time went back before UK time, and I don't know when UK time goes back. So, yeah, anyway, and we get the added bonus of Keisha being here.
We do. Keisha Clark, thank you for joining us again.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
So, yes, thank you for stepping in while we're the time in this reality decided to play games with us.
Yes, I call it being on pretend time.
Absolutely.
Being on pretend time, I like that.
There was that really great cartoon on Facebook recently, which is about, did you see it? About kind of taking one foot off the end of one blanket and then popping it on the other and expecting the blanket to be longer, and you're like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk today about money. Money.
That's really funny. Go on, tell us what the show's about today, Alan.
Today the show is about money. If you hadn't guessed, and if you haven't seen my Facebook profile photograph, you should go and have a look because it's rather fun.
Go on, what is it?
It's me with money coming all over my face.
Oh.
you know, like, okay. Well, money all over my face, how you choose to describe it. But I like, that people talk about, money come, money come, money come. I'm going, yeah, all over my face. And it did. So there we go.
Awesome.
So anyway, the description for today's show. So, ready, shall I sing? No, I won't do it.
Oh, please. I wrote that specifically so you could sing because I knew you would be able to resist it.
So I work all night, I work all day to pay the bills I have to pay. Ain't it sad?
Oh, God.
So, do you play with money? Or have you ever been considered being able to play with money? I mean, have you even ever... I can't even get my words out now. So, what if money would like to play with you? And what would that be like? And what would have to change in your life for that to happen? So it's really funny, actually, linking that in with my profile photograph on Facebook. So I kind of put this photograph of me with money all over my face, and somebody said, why do you love money? Money is... I can't even remember what the comment was. It's something like, money isn't happy or something like that. I'm like, really? And then my money was really happy to be plastered all over my face and around my, around it. It was actually a huge... I mean, I was giggling so much as I was taking the photograph. There was no not fun there at all for me.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to go and look right now.
And you totally see it too. And I love all the colors.
I know, they're just, because it's all these different currencies, and it's like, I get to play with euros and pounds and dollars. It was like, okay, so how many other currencies can I have in my wallet? With
oh my God, that's
ease?
the first thing that popped up. That's really cool. That's too funny. I like that. Oh, look at your wee mischievous face.
I know.
That's very cool.
It's just awesome. It was, I just had so much fun making that. It was, and seriously, absolutely no kind of link to today's show at all when I was taking that photograph. It was just like, everything in my body was just going, let's go and do this because I've got all of this money now, and it was just a lot of fun. And sorry, go.
Well, I was really just interrupting you, attention span of a newt, but I was thinking that actually about the response to your kind of like picture on Facebook, and I'm thinking, how often do you hear, well, money doesn't buy you happiness? And it's just so funny how it's like, that comes up, and it's like, I know it's just really funny, as in haha, not weird, funny, that actually, isn't it funny how it's like we kind of like make money this kind of like special form of torture for ourselves when it's just energy like everything else.
That's so true. Yeah, torture. So, Keisha, do you torture yourself with money, or do you play with money?
Oh, I have done the torture route, yes. I've done it really, really well in grand fashion. And, in the last couple of years, I began to play with money in a different way. And, it's interesting because it's so interesting, like you were kind of tuning into, Laura, you can hardly say the word money without this like avalanche of energy coming at you of just what it means and what it can't mean and what it's supposed to mean, and if you have it, what it's supposed to look like, and if you don't, how awful it must be. And I'm just amazed. It's one of the things just about every morning that I'm doing, clearing and return to sender, and because we talk about how aware are we of people's points of view around so many things, and money is certainly an enormous subject and issue for a lot of people. Playing with money is very different and creates some very interesting things. So,
but even to be honest, even like a year ago, it's like I don't wanted to punch anybody who'd said to me, "Play with money." I'm like, "Are you for real?" So actually, I really get it when you're laughing and you're like, oh, ha, ha, I really created some craziness around money, because I'm like, I did too, and I think it's now hysterical. But see, when you're in it, it's not funny.
It's not, no.
Well, it's hysterical in a different way, isn't it?
Because it feels so solid and real. For me, it was the thing that it was just like, it felt like cement, and I was just kind of like, really? So yeah, just in case, it's like when anybody who's listening who's like, they're like these weirdos that are laughing, but it's like, there's a cuteness to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
I've been in those situations before where from my point of view at the time, my money situation was so, in my words then, dire, that I actually was laughing hysterically. And it's really funny, because when I got to that point where I was just thinking, I have no idea, which of course is a big lie, but, it's like, I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this, and it's just funny now. I just have to laugh at it. And, that was the bloody thing that changed it. It was just being willing to laugh at it. It was like, oh my God, if only I'd laughed all the way through, this might have been a lot easier.
But how cute are you? You're like, I have no idea. And how perfectly did you create that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's the thing that's infuriating in some ways.
Yeah, if we create everything in our lives, I've created all of this in my experience of my lifetime. This time around, all of these crazy, amazing, unhelpful things around money. I mean, before I even started Access, I was £55,000 in past expenditures, or which is where I like to refer to it now, rather than debt. So £55,000, which I think in dollars is something like 75, 80, well, maybe more than that actually. It might be over $100,000. It's like, wow, that's a huge amount of money. And Well, that's it. So I look at it and go, that's a huge amount of money. And if you look at the perspective from that, if you're, a millionaire, let's say, or not even a millionaire, if you've got 100,000 in the bank, 55,000 is like, it's nothing, is it? It's peanuts. And, I remember I had a huge amount of fun racking up all of that money on my credit cards and loans. It was, it wasn't like it was, I was desperate. I had a huge amount of fun with it, and it's like, okay, so what if I don't have to stick it on a credit card in order for me to have that much fun with money?
It's really funny when you're saying that, though, because it's like an awareness I got a while back was just how much money I had spent trying to make myself happy.
Wow.
Not that it worked. But I guess it's like,
funny that.
But actually,
or maybe not so funny.
No, but what's just really interesting is just how much, my spending money has changed. Now that it's like, because I can see that I was trying to be happy, whether it's like going out for dinner or having lots of like nice like champagne or whatever it was. But again, it just strikes me as funny.
Absolutely, and I think for me, one of the so when I came across Access Consciousness, that was, I was going through a massive depression before I came across Access Consciousness, and most of it was, I was putting it all down to two things. One of them was my body, one of them was money. And using those tools, like you were saying, Keisha, about how many other people's points of view are we aware of that we've kind of owned as our own. So one of the greatest things for me, one of the greatest tools for me around the Access Consciousness stuff is, who does that belong to? Because if 98% or 99.99% of the stuff is not ours, then whose points of view about money are we trying to make real?
I had a really beautiful analogy, which was basically, if you think about kind of like all these thoughts flowing down a stream, there's like every thought that's ever existed is flowing down the stream, and basically what we do is we pick the ones out that resonate with us. It's just that we don't know they resonate with us, so they look like they're real. And
I
then
couldn't
of course
even hear that. Can you say that again? I couldn't even hear that. That was.
I was thinking, is that because my mouth is full of food? Because I'm trying to silently eat, and I'm not sure how well I'm doing. But I had breakfast at 7 o'clock this morning, and I'm like, I'm starving.
Consciously,
anyway,
not verbally, I couldn't hear you. It was my mind.
So if you think about, it's like a stream, and in this stream is every thought that has ever existed, and it's just they're all flowing through this stream. And they're just thoughts, and it's almost like what we do is we pull the ones out the stream that resonate with us, except we're not conscious really of which ones resonate with us, and then we go and create from that space. And so it was something that you said that made me say that. Who does it belong to? Because actually none of it's ours. Yeah. It's almost just like, but we totally buy it as ours, and then we defend it as ours, and then prove that it's ours. And it's just, it's all a bit hysterical, really. But not when you're in it. Let me just return to my original point.
But it is totally mad, isn't it? I mean, how we do look at this stuff and make it so real, so solid, so meaningful and significant, and the amount of energy that we put into, making it real and solid. And then once we've made it real and solid, you go, I have to change that. I have to change that. Well, what if you don't have to change? What if you just create a different reality?
I don't know about you guys, but the whole thing about I have to change it. I have to change it. For me, I got an awareness eventually, that that was like, actually them needing to change it was actually another form of resistance. I was totally resisting what is. Which was actually keeping it stuck. And so, god damn it, it was just like, the whole thing was infuriating.
It's just like everywhere we judge something, or we defend for or against it, we stop it from actually changing. And now the other thing, of course, is that we look at the situation it is, and we kind of go, well, my financial situation is really crap. Well, is that really true, or is that a point of view? Because the other thing about kind of all this stuff is that when you can't change a lie.
No.
So I'm really crap with money. So, that's a lie. That's an absolute fucking lie. Because if I was so crap with money, I wouldn't have been able to create the mountains of money that I owed people that I did. I'm really, really good at spending money. I am awesome at spending money. And what if I could be even more awesome at having money and spending money? Yeah. For me, never the twain have met. They're like,
too funny.
Dance partners that kind of miss each other in a ballroom, and they're sad and Billy No-Mates at the corner that have never come together for the foxtrot. So what would it take? What would it take?
Foxtrot.
What I know.
Too funny.
Maybe something a bit more sassy, like.
Do you know what? I actually think that anyone who's listening to this show that was like looking around play for money will have switched off, because we'll have pissed them off so much by now.
Oh dear. So maybe we can get back on track after the break. So I'm going to foxtrot after the break with my gorgeous. I've got two gorgeous ladies playing with me today. Let's do a cha-cha-cha after the break. So Bree, push your magic finger and let's go to buttons, whatever it is, and we'll see you after these, whatever it is. Bye bye.
Were you told as a child to grow up, act your age, and stop being childish? And were you made to feel wrong for choosing to have fun? Is that still the same for you now that you're an adult? Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you created it with more fun, more ease, and in the knowledge that far more choices and possibilities are always available to you? Tune in to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones, who have fun playing with tools, techniques, and ideas that will inspire you to create more fun, more possibilities, and more magic in your life. Do you want to play? Listen for the Playground of Possibilities radio show every Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 4433-0001-0625. Or Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also email us questions or comments by sending emails to playgroundofpossibilities@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, and welcome back to the Playground of Possibilities, where we're having so much fun today with the very lovely Alun Jones and the very, very yummy Keisha. I don't know your second name, Keisha?
Clark.
Keisha Clark. Where we're being very irreverent about money. And and so, in a bid to be serious, haha, like that's going to last. But actually, what does play with money mean for you guys? Like, so, you know, somebody who truly had never, I never thought I'd play with money. Money was like serious business and it was significant for me. And so, what does play with money mean for you guys?
There was a time for me it meant being irresponsible. And now it means letting it turn me on and just kind of not having a point of view about what if I'm making money while I'm washing the dishes? What if I'm making money while I'm trying something totally new and crazy? What if I'm making money by choosing to be goofy and ridiculous and letting people look at me and not having a point of view about all of that? And it's funny how many places I have bumped into some, I have a point of view about that. Isn't that interesting point of view?
But isn't that, what's really interesting, and again, it took me, I just couldn't hear, for the longest time, it's like, creating money is not linear, unless, of course, you decide it is. And so, when you're talking about, the dishes or being goofy or being silly, it's just really interesting because, what if anything can make you money and create money?
Yeah. It's funny because when you said play with money, what I was hearing in my head, and I wonder, who does that belong to, is money is playground of the rich. And, only rich people with money can play with money. It's like, really? God, I remember, even as a child, give me any kind of money. Give me, I used to love counting coppers and, kind of small change and kind of playing with it with no point of view about what it actually was. It didn't have any meaning or significance. It was just fun to listen to it kind of tinkling and oh, hello. and then notes were magical for me because being born in the 1970s, and our family had all sorts of interesting points of view about money, and so for me a £10 note was quite magical, and 20 was even more magical. I don't think I've ever seen a £50 note until much later on, and now I've got a couple in my wallet, which was, and again, Keisha, you said about money kind of turning your whole body on, and that was part of what me playing with the money in my today with all the money in my wallet was, as I was putting it in my body, in just the sense of this is just fun. And it could have been £5 notes or £1. Well, you don't have £1 notes, but my body was just like, yeah, this is fun, and I'll receive more of that, because it is like a turning on experience of everything in my life. Of wow, I get to play with money with no point of view.
For me, what becomes exciting is actually it's about what the money can create.
Yeah.
Because it's really funny as I'm listening to you. I was thinking, I wonder who out there's thinking, God, they're really mercenary and obsessed with money. And actually, for me, that's totally missing the point. It's not about, for me, it's not about the money. It's about what the money can create. It's like, so to be able to choose to go and have like a massage without kind of like thinking, I'd really like to. And how many times do we make money the excuse? It's like, wow, just where I was going with that. It's like, I blamed money for the longest time. Everything that I couldn't do, I was like, well, I don't have the money. So how many of us actually hate money?
How much do we use? That is a really good kind of one of the back doors that I realised I had to committing to my life and to choosing what was fun for me and what would create more for me and the world, is that I haven't got the money. And I know I used to use that. If I don't have the money and someone invites me to something I don't want to go to, I can always say I can't afford it.
Yeah.
What I just said, two things. First of all, I could just say, thanks for the invitation, but no thanks. Or I could lie. And I don't have any point of view about lying anymore. It's like, what would be the greatest kindness to this person? Because some people can't hear, actually, that doesn't work for me. But neither do I have to make this truth of I don't have enough money to choose what I would like to choose just so I don't offend someone else. That's just bonkers.
Wow.
It's interesting, but he's saying it's annoying when people are making you wrong, or still making you wrong for what you do with your money, when you have no point of view about spending, because everyone thinks it's like, there's things that you should do with your money. It's funny.
Yeah. Interesting point of view, they have that point of view.
Yeah, totally.
Interesting point of view, they have that point of view. Thank you very much. Ka-ching! I'll have some more in there. I'll have some more in the bank, please. Because that's one of, there are a couple of things that really, there were loads of things I've got about money from Access Consciousness. One of them is, for every judgment you're willing to receive, it puts $5,000 in your bank account. And for every judgment you're unwilling to receive, it takes $10,000 out. Have a think about that, people. and money follows joy, not the other way around. So the more happy you are, the more you're willing to play. Thus, the playground possibilities. How much are you willing to play with money? How much are you willing to play with it?
Ooh, I just get a sense of there is such a resistance, and I'm so endlessly fascinated by all of that. Just the fact that it exists the way it does on every continent, in almost every culture, there is this significance, and all of these. I was just getting a sense when you guys were talking about all these unspoken rules about money that nobody ever says. So it's like we don't know what the heck they are. We're all just like playing a dart game. Well, did I do it right? Have I not had enough? Am I making less than I'm supposed to? And if I make more, have I beaten myself up enough about it so I can actually have it? And I think you hit it right on the head, Alan, with what you were just saying about receiving. Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, talks a good bit about receiving, as does Dayton here and a number of the facilitators, because that is a topic frequently discussed in the classes and in the telecalls, is what are you willing to receive? And if we're putting everything in the form of judgment, how much are we limiting? If we're only willing to receive the good judgment, like, oh, you're doing your money correct, you're doing your money right, you're doing your money well, what the heck is that setting up?
Do you know, it's funny you're saying that, Keisha, because I was standing in the tube this morning and I was reading the women's newspaper over her shoulder, because what else is there to do, right? And there was this story about this wee boy who was like 13 who'd found this woman's daughter's mobile phone, and the mother had tried to give him 20 quid, and he basically refused it.
Wow.
And it was basically in the story, in the newspaper, as a feel-good story about how that was so cool and the altruism and all that. And all I could think was, why would he not receive the 20 quid?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're almost like taught as well that it's, you know, it's good not to receive money.
Mm-hmm. And how often have we done that when someone's tried to give us something, not just money, but to gift us something, and we have point blank just pushed it back in their face and said, no, I couldn't possibly. And how much of a kindness is that to them and to you? It's like it really isn't. And I think some, you know, and if people, you know, sorry, I'm laughing because I just think about, sometimes people have offered me things in my life and they haven't really wanted to offer them. They've done it out of spite, and I just receive it. And at the end of the day, you know, I say, well, I didn't really want to give it to you. Well, you shouldn't have fucking offered it then.
Yeah, it's like when people go, you don't want a cup of tea, do you?
Like, well, you know, you don't want to give it to me because from now on, you know, from then I kind of like, okay, so if people are offering me kind of money, I'm going to ask questions. Of course, I'm going to ask questions, but it's a case of, you know, I'm not just going to automatically refuse it because if they didn't want to offer it, then really, you know, it's their it's their lookout if they didn't want to offer it in the first place. So, and I'm not going to make myself wrong for that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people offer you things and they want you to say no, but actually it's like they're offering it to you so that they can feel better about themselves for offering it to you when actually they didn't really want to give it to you in the first place.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I am really amazed that I stayed with that thought right till the end. I was like, keep going, Laura, keep going, go.
Yeah, we come up with some really amazing ways to sabotage our lives, and as you were what was just coming up for me was this obligation, the way we obligate ourselves to not having, and I was like, wow, how many places have I done that? Because I have certainly bought into, if you have pretty much anything, then you know that's a wrongness. How dare you? And oh my gosh, look at the abundance that is possible and available to us if we are willing to receive that and play with that, just like the topic of today's show. Play with it. What if it could be play and fun and joyful and generative and wow.
And you know, how would we be with money if there was literally a money tree that you could just go take more every time you needed it? What would that change around money? Because it's like, I know people who've got like a bunch of money and they act like they've got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really curious as well, because it's like actually having it doesn't necessarily mean that you have abundance and ease with it. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, how many people who win the lottery within 3 years are bankrupt? And I don't just mean no money, I mean bankrupt.
Yeah.
You know, it's because they're not willing to receive all of that money coming to them. And I think, you know, one of the biggest awakenings I had with money was it's the way we can abuse ourselves without it looking like we're abusing ourselves. You know, if you self-harm with a knife, then everyone's going to know, and that's bad and it's wrong. But when you abuse yourself with money, that's just reality, and you can, you know, and it's such a lie. But we abuse ourselves with money all the time, in terms of not having enough or having it and making ourselves wrong for it or whatever it is. You know, even asking people for money, and you know, it can just feel so uncomfortable at times.
What do you guys think about like going to break and then coming back and exploring that some more? Because that's a massive one, Alan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Keisha?
Oh, yeah.
Do your magic tricks and we'll see you after the break.
We'll be right back.
Were you told as a child to grow up, act your age, and stop being childish? And were you made to feel wrong for choosing to have fun? Is that still the same for you now that you're an adult? Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you created it with more fun, more ease, and in the knowledge that far more choices and possibilities are always available to you? Tune in to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones, who have fun playing with tools, techniques, and ideas that will inspire you to create more fun, more possibilities, and more magic in your life. Do you want to play? Listen for the Playground of Possibilities radio show every Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that when run assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bars session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
This is the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alun Jones. To participate in the program today, please call in the U.S. 815-880-8255. In Canada, 613-800-8736. In the UK, 4433-0001-0625. Or Skype us at A2Zen.fm. You can also email us questions or comments by sending emails to playgroundofpossibilities@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello and welcome back to Playground of Possibilities with myself, Alun Jones, the gorgeous Laura Borland, and the super sexy Keisha Clark. And before I kind of go into the show, if you'd like to come and join us in the chat room, that would be awesome. Pop in your questions about money, or anything you've got, any comments you have, any points of view, anywhere you're struggling, because let's play with possibilities with money. So before the break, we were talking about self-abuse with money. Ha ha. For example, all sorts of, no, my mind's already gone off to sex again, self-abuse. So, which actually, as it happens, can be a lot of fun, but, that's a story for another show.
Different show.
But, yeah. So I think, the self-abuse we do with money is, we use it to deny ourselves so many things and to deny our body, because without getting into the whole body and being thing too much today, your infinite being, does your infinite being require money? No. But does your body? Well, actually, yes, it's your body that eats, sleeps, has sex, does all the things that has massages, all of that stuff. And so where are we abusing ourselves by not allowing ourselves to receive money and play with money and have total ease with money that isn't just abusing ourselves but abusing our physical body as well? And we lock that in. All of that stress, I remember waking up so often, in the middle of the night and panicking like hell about how I'm going to pay, this month's installments of things, and what did that do to my body?
And it's funny you're saying that, because I think that something that I found I didn't have ease with kind of like sitting with was just when I saw just how unkind I had been to myself, in the choices, but actually through complete innocence, like it wasn't I had done it deliberately, I just was unaware. But when I saw the extent of the unkindness that I had chosen for myself, it was sort of hard for a while, because it's like actually I was aghast that I could have been that unkind to myself.
Well, I think partly that's because it's so normal to abuse ourselves with money. it's like if everyone, and I know I use this analogy quite a lot, but if everyone walked around dropping bricks on their foot, and it was perfectly normal to drop bricks on their foot, which of course we think is totally I think it's totally insane, but somebody might get off on it. But it's like it is totally insane that we abuse ourselves in that way. And if you imagine if everyone dropped their bricks on their foot, and you said, you know what, that's actually not fun for me, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then everyone turned and said, you're wrong, you're not dropping your brick on your foot in a nice, in the nicest possible way, or as often as you should. And it's like, oh my God, who does that belong to?
Because actually we're not taking it seriously enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you laughing at?
Just it's that thing. It's like we don't take money seriously enough. I as a child, I was always praised for, your Alan's really good with money. He saves it and doesn't kind of go out and spend it. And all I wanted to do was go and play with my money. But because I wanted to live up to my parents' expectations about I want to be seen to be good with money. And my sister just had fun with her money. She used it and she went out and she spent it with her friends. And she had a lot of fun with her money. And was made so totally wrong for it.
Because how significant do we make money? That's almost as mental as making oranges really significant. Let's make oranges really significant from this day on.
But look at how
I am successful if I have lots of oranges.
Yeah.
But that's crazy, right?
It is crazy, and it's so made up.
It's so made up.
It's just the way we function and I think it's a brilliant distraction. Money is one of the most brilliant distractions we have. The way I see that it so permeates so many parts of our lives, pretty much throughout most of our lives, we let money be a reason and a justification for distraction, and it can show up in so many ways. Because I was pretty brilliant at this, and we're all the while, we're not really getting what that is actually costing us, in the form of our life, our vitality, our possibilities that we could be choosing and playing with. And it's like something else that was coming up for me when you were talking, Laura, is that so many of us have this interesting kind of amount that we won't let ourselves play with money until we have X amount of money, because the only way you could play with money, of course, is if you use your extra money to play with. And how many of us are creating extra money to play with? And it's like, what if instead let yourself play with $10? Take yourself to the movie and spend $10, and wow, what could that create? That $10 and that 2 hours, and of course, I think now you have to go to a matinee to get your ticket for less than $10. But it's like, if you were willing to go spend $8 or $10 to go see a movie that you want to see, if movies are your thing, or go spend $20 to have your nails done, or go spend, $17 to eat something yummy and invite a friend and go have custard, and of course it doesn't have to involve food.
Don't invite me, Keisha. I don't like custard.
There you
thanks.
go.
I love custard.
That's what if we just let ourselves have fun with $5?
But what's magical about what you're saying there, Keisha, is how often do we look at the amount of money rather than what it's create? It's coming back to that.
And we expect money to show up in a very specific way, or else we don't value it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
This might seem like this might seem a little bit weird, but just go with me in this. I was in the shower the other day, and I had bought this shampoo, and I picked the shampoo up to start washing my hair, and all of a sudden I started laughing because the shampoo was called for thickening hair. And I looked at it and I thought, if I thought my hair was thick, I wouldn't have bought that shampoo. And it just made me wonder. So, so actually while we say that we're looking to create one thing, we're actually coming from a different space of energy. So so actually, unless I thought my hair was thin, I wouldn't have bought that shampoo, right? And so for me, I was just thinking about, it made me think about the amount of times with money that I had talked about money and talked about creating money, but actually I was doing it entirely from a space of, actually I don't believe that I have money and can create money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of links very much to me with that space of need. You know, I need to have money. I need to create money. And the thing with need is the minute that you decide you need something, you make it impossible to have. That's it. You know, energetically, you make it completely and utterly impossible to have. So, you know, let go of your need for money. And just choose to have it and choose to play with it. As Keisha was saying, you know, absolutely, Keisha, because I keep £50 notes in my wallet partly from the perspective of being able to walk past a shop window. I go, oh, I could have that, and I could have that, and I could do this with it, and I could do that with it. And you know, it's just, and it could be £5. It doesn't have to be 50. As you said, it's like, how much money are you willing to? You know, what if all money was just there to play with? And while, you know, I know I'm jumping from topic to topic, all these thoughts are coming into my head. If I don't get them out now, then I'm going to forget them. But it's like, you know, if money was your friend, would it want to be your friend? Think about how you treat money. Would money want to, if you treated your friends like that, would they like to be your friend? I mean, who wants a needy person, you know, who resents you for never being there when you need them, who only kind of takes you for granted when you are there, doesn't really value you, hates you, gives you over grudgingly, hates to receive you as well. I mean, all of those things. It's like, oh my God.
What you do for them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
I wanted to ask you guys a question, because I loved what you were saying there, Alan, about, you know, it's like when you've got money in your pocket and you walk past the shop and you're like, I could have that, and I could have that, and I could have that. So, because actually, me too, but now that I can have it, what's really funny is I don't want it.
Because how often do we want things when we know so yeah, where do we put our desire to have something from the point of view that we've already decided and concluded that we can never ever have it? So you know, it's like I really want money because I've already got this secret hidden agenda that I can never have it, and therefore I want it more. You always want what you can never have. I mean, whose mad ass point of view is that we've bought into?
I don't know, but it's like so many of us have bought into it, which is just, and I think that's why, you know, we're laughing, but we're laughing at ourselves, because it's like, you know, until you see it, it's just like, once you begin to see it, and even though I can see it a little bit, I know there's so much more to see, and so I'm just, it's almost like, again, it's coming back to that energy of like curiosity. What else? Like, what else? And I loved what you said, Keisha, about kind of like, you know, how often do we decide that money has to come like from a certain route? You know, and I remember saying to Simone in the business class, I know that you said that there's an infinite number of ways that money can come to us, Simone, and she's like, I can think of about 5. It's like,
okay,
Laura, you don't actually have to be like God. I was like, it really bothered me that I can only think of 5. But you know what? How cute. I mean, it's like, because I just didn't get it, right?
Well, and that's part of the beauty of the question, you know, what else is possible, and what's right about this I'm not getting, or what contribution is this I'm not acknowledging. It's like, it is beyond what we can cognitively come up with. And I think that's a huge part of, well, in my personal experience, that's been a huge part of letting go of the significance of money, when I could take a breath and get out of my mind and get out of my head and the figuring of it, and just ask the universe, okay, universe, show me the energy of having more money. Show me the energy of having money to begin with, and not from the place of having to get a certain amount to be able to spend it on something, but truly having money. And so, how many ways does it want to show up in my life? And let me get out of the way of that.
Absolutely. So, just before we go into break, then, let's do. So, what energy, space, and consciousness can we be to have total ease with having more than enough money? With total ease, as if by magic. I know, exactly. Let's do it. A little rhyme, baby.
Yes. Everywhere we're refusing that. Let's stop that now.
Yeah.
Oh. Stop it. Was that you, Alan?
Sorry, what?
All of a sudden I thought there was a fourth person in the line. It's
no,
like someone else come on and I've not noticed them.
It's the demons of money. So yeah, I after the break, I just want to do that thing again about how money shows up for us, and how, you know, yeah, because there's a few. There's actually 6,000 million thoughts that jumped into my head. There's just a couple that I'd like to follow up after the break. So let's press that magic button, Ms. Bree, and we'll be back right after these.
Were you told as a child to grow up, act your age, and stop being childish? And were you made to feel wrong for choosing to have fun? Is that still the same for you now that you're an adult? Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you created it with more fun, more ease, and in the knowledge that far more choices and possibilities are always available to you? Tune in to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alan Jones, who have fun playing with tools, techniques, and ideas that will inspire you to create more fun, more possibilities, and more magic in your life. Do you want to play? Listen for the Playground of Possibilities radio show every Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm.
Oh, are we back?
Hi, we're back.
I'm sorry.
I was thinking, am I on? Are we on? Or what's happened?
I was
That's
studying
too funny.
in the chat room, and I was waiting for another advert. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
me too.
Why did I?
Bree was messing with us. I like that, Bree. You were keeping us on our toes. Awesome. Do you know what? And what if that could be? What if that could be how money could show up? What if it was just like that?
Yeah. Totally.
No, Bree, all the ads did not play, but we still love you.
It's okay.
So, that's all right, Bree.
To say more.
We'll have a refund on this month's payment, Bree. And then I'll make us some money, you see. How does it get better than that? How does it get better than that? So, yeah, what I wanted to say was, we were talking before the break about how, we expect money to show up, in a particular way. So how often have we expected money to show up in a particular way, but because it hasn't shown up in that way, or exactly how we described it, we've ignored what that is and just refused it, or allowed it to pass by. And so for me there's that perspective, and also when it comes to money, if someone has to pay for a coffee for you, or you get points, I get reward points on my shopping in the supermarket, and in other places, that's all money. So how many ways have we misidentified and misapplied what money is? If you're asking for cash, then rather than just asking for money from you, let's go ask for cash. Because the universe, from its perspective, is like, well, everything is money, because money is an energy, and money kind of, energy flows through everything. And, yeah.
And if you're asking for money and you have so many points of view around receiving cash, the universe is going to be sending you what you can receive, not the cash. If you can't
Isn't that really
cash.
annoying, that one?
Oh my God, Keisha,
I've done that one.
Oh my God, that's it, isn't it? We're not willing to receive cash. Fuck.
Because cash changes, having $100,000 in my bank account, which I don't have in this 10 seconds, and what if I did? What would I choose? And that's something else. It's like I'm starting to get that subtle difference between what would I do if I had $100,000 and what would I choose if I had $100,000. And I'm starting to see there's a real different energy that shows up when I really play with that question. It changes a lot.
I have to tell you guys, there was a point where I was so rubbish around, I concluded I was so rubbish around creating money that I became brilliant at bypassing money completely, and I could create all sorts of things out of thin air, but just that didn't involve the money. Places to live, tickets to go places, dinners, plane tickets. It's just and then eventually I was just and what would it take to create money as well as that?
With that much ease.
Yeah, with that much ease, because it became the madness was it became a game, because it's I used to love how it showed up, because you would never know, right? And it was back to that kind of curiosity. So yeah, I love that you're saying that. I love that you're saying that, Keisha.
I'm still floored. I'm absolutely floored. But
well, and it applies to me in no way, shape, or possible.
So yeah, anyone who's listening, are you willing to receive money but not cash? Because everywhere you're unwilling to receive cash, as Keisha said so brilliantly. Oh, hello. Sorry, that's my alarm telling me that it's time for the Playground of Possibilities radio show, which we have to do it all over again. Yeah. It's just like, where are we unwilling to receive cash? And if the universe, as you said, Keisha, can only give us what we're willing to receive. If you're not willing to receive it, it has to gift it to you in a way that you can. So everywhere you're unwilling to receive cash, as well as money, as well as everything else, do you want to destroy and uncreate it?
Wow, all the energies of money.
Yeah. Wow, fuck. Get me a gin. I need a gin. I'm so going to eat chocolate when I finish this show. Wow.
Yeah. And what do our bodies know? Tap into your body in this moment. It's like when you say all the energies of money, does your body light up? Does your body start to tingle? Does your body smile? It's like, what do our bodies know about facilitating us and co-creating with us and allowing us to be receiving? Wow, I hadn't really played with that yet today.
It's really funny because now I'm thinking this has just been set up so perfectly, especially given that our show next week is a pre-record and it's with Keisha. Keisha, that was the one that we did last week, or am I confused?
Last week was the bodies? Yeah, last week was bodies.
We did
it's in the archives.
We did a
I'm all
pre-record.
confused. Oh God, it's like it's all merging into one. But I was just going to say I had been running and I didn't want to go running, and it's like, and I was having all this mind chat, and my body beautifully created a sore leg for me, and so it's like I was walking up the road and I was hobbling up the road and I was laughing, and because I was laughing at the awesomeness of my body creating it so that I didn't have to run, and I looked down and there was 20 quid in the ground.
Wow. Fuck.
And I laughed the whole way home because I was just like, awesome universe. Really, and it just, so when you're talking about the connection with what do our bodies know, I just was like, oh God, I love it. Just it happened, it's like it could have happened anywhere, it happened there, and it was just like, and it was just an absolute delight.
And was that fun for you?
Oh my God, it was so much fun. It was just I felt like the universe had kept hit me with its tickling stick.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that.
More of that.
Yeah,
more of
that. As Alan said, no magic whatsoever there, huh?
Nope. No, but I was really grateful. Before that happened, I was laughing at my body creating a sore leg so I didn't have to run. I was like, awesome, that's right, cool. And then it's on the back of that, right to the 20 quid in the ground, and I was just like, oh man, it's just that's just too funny. Yeah, more of that, please.
That's a beautiful example of what if it could show up in a way that we could simply never imagine. Yeah. And how much fun could that be? Playing with money. What if that is playing with money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then destroy and uncreate everywhere you're unwilling to receive money, cash and money, because that's the thing. It's like. So just quickly, because I know we're coming to the end of the show, but I remember once somebody saying to me, I'm not willing to make money from somebody else's misery, and I think about what I do for a business as a coach, and people sometimes come to me and they're really miserable, and and by the time they finish, they're not. On the whole, or they leave when they come happy and leave miserable, but it's like. But no, not really. But it's like, of course I'm willing to receive money for a coaching session if someone comes to me and they're miserable. So am I willing to make money from someone else's misery? Well, yeah, if they're willing to give me the cash for it. So...
Awesome. I feel like we could have gone on and on and on there.
So next week we're talking about business. That's a pre-record.
That was it. I'm just so confused.
Yeah, so... Bree, I can't even get my names right. Keisha, thank you so much for joining us and playing this week.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's always fun to play on your playground. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Our pleasure. Awesome. Have a great week, guys.
Yep, go and make lots of money.
Bye.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Playground of Possibilities radio show with Laura Borland and Alan Jones. We hope you enjoyed playing with us today and that you'll come play with us next Monday at 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific on A2Zen.fm. Until then, what would it take for you to enjoy playing with choices and possibilities to create more fun, more magic, and more of everything you desire? What will you choose today?